Hey up, me ducks. It's Simon here. Sorry, I just had a coughing fit. Hopefully, I can get through the next hour without bursting your eardrums. Oh, there's people in already. So, hi Claire, hi L, Jamie, Donna, hi Donna. We've got Tycon, Al, Nancy, the other Jen. I've just said the other Jen, like the other Jen is in the room, and it's just because I've just read a message from the other Jen, and the other Jen in here. So hi Jen. Hi Kelly. Hello Chris. Good to see you. And we have Sadhana. Oh, and Susan. Hello Susan. I've not seen you for a while. I hope you're okay. So. Throwback Thursday this week. Let me get comfy for this one. So we're looking at the Ostara Tarot, which, even though it's called Throwback Thursday, this, in my mind, is still a relatively new deck. It's 3 years old. It was released in 2017. But it went up against the Chrysalis Tarot, which will get one more week. And I'll tell you what the Chrysalis is going up against in the vote for next week. Ostara won 55% of the vote, 218 votes, and 55% of you wanted Ostara as opposed to 45% for the Chrysalis Tarot. So, cough on me. Cough on me. I'm sure you won't want me to cough on you. Unless you're trying to get out of something, you want a sickie, an excuse. But so, great start. So yes, so Schiffer Tarot has only been out since 2017. I'm hot and cold with this deck, I'm going to be honest. It was so eagerly anticipated for me. Like everybody else, I'd got a back order on it with Amazon. It kept getting delayed, it kept getting pushed back. It was going to be released, then it was straight out of stock, and then there was new dates, and it just seemed to take forever to get it at the time. It was like so eagerly anticipated. And then when I did get it, I didn't really have a connection with it in the same way that I thought I would. But I have used it a number of times because I was keen to, and I thought, well, the more I use it, the more I'll connect. And the great thing about Throwback Thursdays is that I've been working with this deck for the last couple of days. It does have a few little niggles, which I will talk about, but overall it is a beautiful deck, and it is one that I feel will stand the test of time within the tarot community. One of the reasons why it's often considered a bit of a Marmite deck is because it is a collaboration deck. Now, I tend to, although I've had decks like Slow Holler, and I've also got one of the 78, I think I've got the 78 mythical one. I tend to kind of steer away from collaborations decks because I don't always, unless they're done really well, they can be quite jarring for me. But I like to see cohesion, and I like to see that the artists, particularly one that was done well was Slow Holler, where the artists all, however many are involved, have the same vision, not just a theme, but try and work together to create something that's quite, as I say, quite cohesive and that flows really nicely. Now, with the Ostara Tarot, I think the way that they achieved this was there's 4 creators, 4 artists: Molly Applejohn, Eden Cook, Krista Gibbard, and Julia Ardale. They each took a suit and was responsible for that suit, and then collaborated on the majors together. And I think that kind of helps with that cohesiveness to get you know, to get that more unified sort of approach to a single tarot deck. It is by Schiffer. Again, Schiffer can be a little bit hit and miss in terms of their production quality. And I remember being quite shocked when this arrived because it's in its usual Schiffer style, like Mary L, Everyday Enchantments, etc. But this is a lot smaller in comparison with those boxes. But it does sit nicely in that regard on the shelf without taking up a lot of room. I should have said as well, I just saw the word Marmite pop up. Did someone say Marmite? Yes, Donna, we said Marmite. What I should have said as well is, thinking of Marmite, my mind's gone blank. I'm not 100%, guys, I'm going to be honest. I was talking to somebody this morning, I was like, well, why don't you postpone Throwback Thursday? But because it got postponed last week, I didn't want to do that. So I'm going to give it my best shot, but I'm still quite thick-headed and a little bit fuzzy. So, yes, where was I? So we're talking about the box and the presentation. So Red Feather was the kind of, around the time, it was one of the first that came out from Red Feather. It's their kind of mind, body, spirit arm of Schiffer printers. And it is in a lovely box. The presentation is beautiful. It's a nice, sturdy box. And the idea of the deck, of course, is that it's quite pagan. It's pagan influenced, but particularly thinking around the Sabbat of Ostara, the spring equinox, also Easter. And there is some Christian symbology in this as well. So let's have a look at the box. So as I said, it's got this lift up magnetic closure, so it doesn't, even upside down, it doesn't, with a book in it, doesn't open up. So it's nice and secure. It has the four artists on the inside and a little bit about Molly, Eden, Krista and Julia. I'm glad you are here. I'm glad I'm here too, Jamie. You'll just have to bear with me. Oh, and that's what I was going to say when I said, I meant to say, please, if you want to catch my attention, do what Jamie's done. Start with the Hermit's Cave. Kelly Bear's just done it as well. You almost said fartists. Did I? Fartists instead of artists. So that I can catch it or put it in capitals, and I'll keep looking down from time to time as well. So it has all about the artists on the inside. On the back, it says, through 78 stunning tarot cards and accompanying guidebook, delve into the fantastical world of traditional symbolism and contemporary themes that will return you to the wilderness and explore the feminine. With a unique synergy of artist styles and perspectives, discover deities and mystical archetypes in the major arcana that convey 22 core lessons, while the minors employ the help of animal guides to illuminate their diverse messages, connecting them to your life. Identify your relationship with Earth and pay homage to the natural world and those romantic moments where you can, again, be part of nature around you. Use keywords as well as upright and reverse card explanations to manifest your deepest spiritual renewal, perfect for both novices and collectors. I disagree with the novice thing. I was talking to Kelly Bear about this earlier, and it's going to be down to individuals, because, you know, Kelly didn't struggle with this deck at all. I don't find it that easy to recognize some of the cards instantly, and I'll talk a little bit more about that when I start to look at the cards. But it will just say King, and whilst the suit will be depicted in the picture, they don't jump out at you in some instances. You really have to search for them, and some look like they could be for a different suit. So an example that I was talking to Kelly Bear about was the King of Cups has some discs above his head, and instantly I saw that as the King of Pentacles. So no suits are referenced. you have to look for the symbols in the card. And some of the cards are quite busy and detailed. So it does kind of go along an RWS theme. And the majors aren't numbered either, so it's up to you where you put the strength and the justice card. It makes no difference when it's all shuffled and in a spread anyway, because there aren't numbers there, they're just words. One of the downsides to the packaging is this. So you get this little, it just kind of does nothing really, it just kind of sits there, but doesn't fit tightly or anything. But the cards were in 2 parts, so they sit side by side, which, yeah, that can sometimes have problems, because when you put a deck together, sometimes they don't sit together quite nicely. That said, with the Ostara, and I think because of the heavy cardstock and gloss and the silver gilding, it actually does sit quite nice. There is a line there, but it's not at the halfway point. I think that's just where the majors end. But yeah, so I didn't have too much of a problem. But a lot of people put them into bags and things like that. But you do have a nice storage box. You just can't fit the deck in there in its entirety. You do have to split them up. So that's the box. I've got a comment. They're not discs, it's light radiant. I know, but they're circular. They look like disc shapes, as you'll see when we get to them. All I'm saying is, at first instance for me, when I look at the tarot, I suppose it's because I'm so familiar with things like the RWS, I only have to look at one image and I instantly know what it is. What I'm saying is, with this deck, I have to search a little bit for it. And that's not a bad thing, but it's not a deck I would choose to read for other people with, because, you know, I don't want that sort of pregnant pause. I like to be able to flip a card and go straight in with what I know, coupled with intuition and things like that, if I'm reading for other people. Is it nice gilding? It is nice gilding. Hi, Jilly, by the way. Yes, it is nice gilding. I despise 2-part packaging. Do not go through any special trouble. A simple definition should suffice. That's to Al. Those girls must have a great mentor at their school to get a contract in place. Emily Carr is such a great college. Okay, I'm not sure what you're talking about, but that was directed at me. Those girls must have great mentor at their school. I'm not sure what you're referring to, but anyway, I'll carry on. The book. Really like the book. It is a really good read, actually. It's a really nice read. You don't get loads and loads of text, as you can see there for the moon, but some cards you get more text than others. But you get this lovely colour reproduction of the card, which is really, really nice. On the minors, you get, it goes down to, instead of having the card on one page and the text on the other, it goes down to having half of the page with an image and the other half with the text. I like the fact that it's in colour print as well, and it's nice, handy pocket size to throw in a bag or a coat pocket or something like that. So let's have a look at what you get. So at the beginning it tells you here, you get a preface, the major arcana, minor arcana, and the artist. It's as simple as that. The book is 110 pages. I love this. At the end, the women of Ostara are deeply grateful for the support of our friends, family and peers who have carried us through this project and inspired us with their wild and caring hearts. Thank you for being the light. We love you. So that's really nice. Just I'm going to look at, see if there's anything else to jump out. There aren't any spreads or anything in this book, so it's mainly just a guidebook. I like the fact that we have where is it, I like the fact that we have little sections with almost like covers again, say major arcana, so it really separates it quite nicely. Minor arcana. And yeah, some cards are quite RWS, like the Five of Pentacles, whereas others are a little bit of a stretch. Just check for comments. Oh wow, Anna, can't stay long. Reading tarot at an event. How fun. Best of luck to you. Okay, so as I said, it's primarily a pagan deck. It honours the spring equinox, Ostara, or Easter as well. These are the back. It's a nice thick deck because it's the cardstock. It's shiffer thick. I apologise for all the sirens tonight. I don't know what's happening out there. They've been going on for hours. Yeah, so it's a nice thick deck. It is glossy. It was a little bit sticky at first. These did need prizing apart. But, you know, that's quite synonymous. Although Schiffer recently have been doing quite a bit of matte finish products as well. So the backs are lovely. They are reversible, which is really nice. I love these crescent moons as well. So yeah, sturdy, silver gilding. And I quite like silver gilding. I mean, people always go on about gold gilding, don't they? And say, oh, it's got lovely gold gilding. But actually, this silver gilding is quite nice. I know there's a few decks, isn't there, with silver gilding, like Fountain Tarot and stuff, but it's really quite lovely. I purchased this deck a while back. It's in storage. Why is it in storage, Claire? Tell us your thoughts. They're just getting hyped outside because Throwback Thursday is back. I only missed 1 week, Al. That's funny. Yeah, okay. So, I think a part of the confusion I was talking about, really, it does purport to be RWS inspired. And as I said, there are nods throughout the deck to RWS. But I think it's a bit of a stretch, really, for if I was to say this is an RWS deck. And I think really that's because we tend to pigeonhole our tarot into 3 categories, don't we? RWS, Thoth, and Marseille. However, some decks are, you know, standalone decks, systems, if you like. This isn't a standalone system, and as I said, it purports to be RWS. But if you're buying this wanting an RWS clone, then it's not really that, I don't think. I think it deviates quite a bit from the standard RWS system that we might be used to. What I do think it's good for, though, is for intuitive reading. There's lots of images in this deck that force you to ponder on what you're actually looking at. And it's, again, there was a deck that we reviewed a few weeks ago that was quite busy. It was the, what was it called? It's got the Czech version, Shadowscapes, where there are some decks for me, and, you know, my brain works a little bit differently to other people's brains with having ADD. But when I see an image, it takes me a while to work out what I'm actually looking at, because my brain has always been where it tries to form patterns out of chaos straight away. I see things that other people don't see. I'll be walking with somebody and I'll say, do you see that in that tree formation? And they're straining and like, I don't see what you're seeing. But my brain tries to make order out of chaos all the time. So when I'm confronted with a busy image, first of all, I'm looking and I just see a swirl, or I'll see colours, and my brain is really trying to make out shapes. And then somebody might say to me, but clearly, you know, this is an outline of a lady and a dog. And I'm like, where? and then I'll see it. And once I've seen it, I'll always see it. But it does take a while, and some of these cards really force me to study them and not just rely on how I'm used to reading tarot with a standard RWS deck. It forces me to use my intuition a lot more. Does that make sense? And hello to everybody just joining us. So let's have a look then. If you are buying this deck as well, because it's still available, I believe, you will need to break it in. But the gilding stands up quite well as well, because this has been broken in. Not a single card sticks now. But as I said, when I first used it, it was clunky. It was stuck in chunks. I had to keep prizing them apart, cracking the deck. But it's completely broken in now, and it shuffles lovely. Okay, in terms of card size, it is a little bit shorter than an RWS US Games version. So, but not by a lot. So as you can see here, it's about, I don't know, 1/3 of an inch shorter and a little bit narrower as well. So that's the size as a comparison. Let's put that back there. The colours in this deck are so comforting and cosy. Yeah, they are. And they're so varied as well. And I guess you get that with, you know, working with a collaborative deck. So you'll get very sort of fiery, lovely colours and then quite a contrast. So don't get them out of order, Simon. So, are we ready to look at the cards? I remember loving the Magician, says Elle. Yeah, the Magician's not one of my favourites. I think it's a bit freaky. But anyway. So, we have our Fool. Oh, just to say as well about the borders. I'm not quite sure why they're there, if I'm honest, because this, to me, is a borderless deck. You do have this kind of white inner line, and you get the title at the top of the cards. When it comes to the minors, sometimes the Roman numeral is at the top, sometimes it's at the bottom. But I don't really feel that it was needed. As you can see, it does have a sheen, because as I said, it is quite a thick, glossy deck. So here we have our Fool, and I love this. It is very witchy. I love that she's flying on a broomstick. She's setting off on an adventure. She's facing the sun, and it's just a lovely, lovely deck. It gives you that sense of adventurous spirit, and you've got these birds as well that are flying high and around her. So yeah, really, really lovely. And she just looks like she's just enjoying the experience, enjoying the adventure. She's treating life, you know, as an adventure. I love the air as well that's giving this sort of movement of her setting off on her journey. So it's lovely. So here's Elle's Magician card that she likes. I don't know. It's just, I mean, the eyes are a little bit, yeah. So her eyes are missing from her eyes, but they're, you know, she's got eyes on her hands, which is really strange. It's like, I don't know, they're there instead of there. But it's okay. It's okay. I love the little snail that's on her head. Her arms look a little bit disjointed as well, like they're not really part of her body. But yeah, it's an interesting card. But Magician, well, why not? here we have our High Priestess, which is lovely. And the High Priestess is on the cover of the box and also the cover of the book. And she's really nice. I love the fact that her eyes are covered, you know, which gives the nod to that sort of going within, using intuition. It's really, really lovely. It's got that sort of introspection. And she's got these bug kind of antlers on top of her head as well. And she's holding a heart, which is really beautiful. Oh, and look, the crescent moons on her dress. Really beautiful. So again, you know, this isn't an over busy card, but it is one that you just kind of study and notice little things about as well. Yeah, I love the moon phases on the dress. I think it's really nice. Nod to the High Priestess. The Empress is nice. And whilst they've got the High Priestess on the cover, on the inside cover, we have the Empress as well. So she's nice. I love her flame red hair. I think it's really beautiful. She's got this flower growing out the palm of her hand. She's at one with nature. You know, a little bird's nest in her head. As Jilly said, in a good way. I've never seen the cards from this deck. Not what I expected at all. Yeah, and because there's 4 artists, it does kind of give you that diversity of different art forms as well. Gosh, I love that High Priestess. So that's our Empress. I really like her. I love, it's quite simple. You know, she's just there, grounded, sitting amongst nature. She's got this flower growing, as I said, bird's nest, sun rays behind her. Beautiful. One of my favourite cards now in the deck is the Empricorn. Empricorn. The Empricorn. Here's the Empricorn, everybody. Oh dear. I was going to mention his horns. But I love this this Emperor card. It is one of my favourites. He's just so strong, determined looking. It's just an amazing. It's got the nod to Aries, of course, with the ram's horns, as I mentioned, the Empricorn. And it's, yeah, and these Celtic, it's very Celtic, it's very pagan. I really like it. And look at his expression. So focused. Simon, are you high? I'm probably high on strepsils. I wish I was high. Empricorn, a little cold punchy. What's a punchy? Very earthy. Yes, Justin. Hi, Justin, by the way. That was very high-pitched, wasn't it? Hi, Justin. I will continue onward. The Hierophant, really, it's quite abstract again, and it was one of those cards where I'm like, hi, Josh. One of those cards where I was like, what am I looking at? Then I realised that this book, because you don't see a body. There's a hand. There's body parts. There's a hand that's got this book with this ray of light coming down towards it. You get this fiery hand with a passage and somebody walking through like a gateway, like a portal. But the book with its eyes looking out, you know, and the Hierophant is somebody who should have knowledge and imparts that knowledge to people. And you've got all these pages with writings on, whether they're scripture or whatever it is. But yeah, it reminds me in a warped sort of way why it reminds me. But I used to go quite often to a Gurdwara in Nottingham, and they revere a book. The Last Guru is a book, and if you go into any Gurdwara, there are their elders, you know, with the book, you know, being revered. And it's this sacred text that is constantly being read from. And when they get to the end, they go back to the beginning and start reading it over again continuously. And it's this book of knowledge and spiritual truths. So I love that. Although it took me a while to kind of work out what I was actually looking at. My good friend trained her dogs to use a little box. Okay. Maybe I should... That was in capitals, so it forced me to look, Claire, but I'm not quite sure what the relevance is. Lovers is beautiful. Look how they're blindfolded. But they're not really blindfolded, because if you look, you can see their eyes through it. It's just like chiffon. It's not... It gives you that sense of that connection through senses, other than perhaps, you know, what we might associate first as an attraction to another person through looking at them. But they're just enjoying the moment. I love all the lit candles all around, representing the flame, the passion. It's really quite beautiful. Also love the Chariot. Again, one of my favorite cards. I love that it's a chessboard. So here we have our black and our white horse that guides, you know, that pulls the chariot along as the person is holding to the reins and guiding it and trying to stay on track. They're going in opposite directions, so they're not facing forward. So there's that sort of being pulled. His eyes are covered as well. He's holding on to the reins. But I love the colour of this card as well. This sort of, we've gone from the lovers to this stark contrast here as well. With, again, we've got the crescent moons, but it's really quite a striking image. Really lovely. So strength. Now, when I did unpack this deck, Justice was here, but I switched them around just because, you know, it said it nods to the RWS. So, but as I said, there are no numbers on this card, so it doesn't matter, does it? We pulled the strength when we pulled the strength. It doesn't say 11 or 8. So, but I love this card. Look at what's on her shoulders. These two kind of worlds, like cityscapes. One's got a crescent moon, the other's got the sun over it. So, you know, she's carrying this on her shoulders, which is incredible. There's a picture of a heart there in the middle, and she's kind of, you know, holding above that. So she's thinking about, you know, getting in touch with her heart, needing that strong heart to move forward. We have a dragon here again. It took me a while to even spot that at first, but it's from its nasal passages, this smoke coming out, and she's got one hand, you know. We're used to seeing the strength card with like a lion, and she's showing that she's taming this dragon by also connecting with her heart and connecting with the dragon. But I love how she's got these on her shoulders. Okay. Hermit card is okay. It's not my favourite Hermit card. It's a little busy, and I was like, I can't really make him out. It takes a while, but you can see he's kind of looking back, kind of over his shoulder. I do like his lantern. I like the fact that we've got these kind of cave formation as he's setting out. We've got the night sky, the moon. It was me, Becca. Oh, you have it. Someone traded with me at the meetup. Oh, it was L. L traded it. Wheel of Fortune. I'm not too keen on that. I like the idea of fates. There's all these many eyes, which kind of reminds me of Terra del Fuego, with all the eyes and things. You've got these kind of random hands. But what I do like is there's this thread, look, coming all the way up, and then there's this pair of scissors here about to cut the thread. Which again is quite interesting, isn't it, for the Wheel of Fortune. Justice, I like. I think it's quite easy to see. And we see this is quite common in a lot of tarot decks. There's umpteen tarot decks, isn't there, where we've got this balancing scales of between heart and mind, the feather representing air and kind of our thoughts. And we've got the heart here. So head and heart needing to be aligned with the Justice card. She's blindfolded. Her clothes are amazing. It's almost like angel wings. This is her arm here. But then she's got this one, which is like part of this, almost like a wing. But I think it's just her outfit, her attire. So that's lovely. Love the Hanged Man. I think it's a gorgeous, gorgeous Hanged Man card. Really nice. And I love that we've got these Celtic carvings in the trees here. He's just suspended. But look here, we've got these sleeping wolves. But he doesn't seem fazed by that. Let's turn him the other way around. He doesn't seem fazed at all by these sleeping wolves. And, you know, if they was to wake up, they could, it's not that far suspended off the ground. They could tear him, really. But, you know, he's hanging there silently, contemplating. They're sleeping. All is calm. All is well. Wow. There's so much. There's more detail in that than as there is with many decks. The Death card, yeah, bit like old Marseille decks. We have these kind of body parts again. There's lots of body parts in this deck. I mean, there's a lot happening here, isn't there? We've got the kind of the raven skull that we often see for death, and like I say, this is kind of like a nod to a Marseille deck. We've got bones, but again, it's very busy and very multi-layered with things. I like the shadowing of the tree. Is that with the Hanged Man card? Yeah, the shadowing of the tree is beautiful. Gives that hazy of the sun setting, doesn't it? The haziness with the sun setting. This is interesting for Temperance. I like the contrast between the green, earthy, and the blue. It's almost like she's opening Pandora's box or something. She's lifted the lid of this and everything is flowing out in different directions. Here, going to the air, we've got all these birds of prey. And then here we've got these kind of huntering animals, predators. And she's there in the middle. Again, it's a card you really have to study to look at the details of. The Devil is interesting. It's this mystical creature. It's kind of a bit mothish. But yeah, it's almost like a a mad scientist. You've got all these kind of concoctions and bottles and people trapped, miniature people trapped. So he must be huge. And as you can see in here, he's got his two lovers here inside this. It's almost like a lantern. This gilded cage with glass. Really unusual. It's like out of a fairy tale kind of Mothman don't kind of thing. And not just humans, you know, it's got like down here, there's a hare in a glass case as well. We've got birds. There's a collector up here. You've got a spider. And I love the fact we've got this bright red for our devil's outfit against this kind of monochrome. More coffee. Such a cool devil. The tower, wow. I mean, that is being completely destroyed. I love the doves. He's kind of releasing these beautiful doves, which indicates to me, you know, that whilst we've got all this chaos and destruction, there's hope. There's hope for peace. There's hope for that coming back together, that calming down. The foundations will remain intact, you know, it can be built again. I love the full moon in the background. Really beautiful. The peace in absolute destruction, yeah. Temporarily so. The star, yeah, when I first saw the star, I thought it was like an underwater scene, and I was like, why is she diving through water to get to a star? Almost like a jewel that's buried that we have to go within to search for. But she's not, and when you read about it, she's just flying through the cosmos in search of the star. The moon is like something out of Tim Burton or something, but quite funky. It rarely reveals the shadow self as well. This is, you know, you can tell by the hair and everything. These are shadows of her being cast as well by the moon. Which is really fabulous. Here's the sun card. It's like a queen bee type thing. But I can't work out a face or anything. I just can't. Some cards I just find really difficult. I'm like, what am I actually looking at? I can tell it's from the back of her because her position, but yeah. Judgment, I love the Judgment card. You've got these figures here, the shadowy figures. Somebody's in distress, being comforted. It's really, really nice. They look like they've been through the wars, literally. And then we've got this beautiful angel as well. I like that it's a person of colour. She's wielding her sword. There's this energy behind her, this glowing light. It's really lovely. And then we have the World card. And I think, did I read in the book? I'll have a look in the books. It's good to choose one card, I think, and see what the book has to say. But from what I remember, I mean, we've got all the elements represented here. Okay, so which we get anyway, but usually like animal references. So we have the symbols, you know, for the elements. And then we've got this world, and it looks like it's a world that's exploding. But from memory, I think it's not a world exploding. I think it's a world that's coming together. Let's have a look. So the world, full circle, completion, fulfillment, accomplishment. Let me show you the card whilst I read it. So, from a surge of stardust and heat, the world is born in a void. Although the world signifies the completion of a journey, project, or cycle, it also holds the promise of new beginnings. The 4 signs in the corners, Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, and Scorpio, are symbolic of the 4 elements, as well as the cycle of seasons. The world's presence in a reading often heralds the end of a long, arduous process, so let this be a sign that the closure is near. Take time to reflect on all that was lost, gained, learned, and created during this period of your life. So yeah, just from the bit where it says, from a surge of stardust and heat, the world is born in the void. For me, it's that process of that, you know, how everything was spinning and coming together and it formed our world. So this card popped me out of the deck because of the coloration. Okay. So, minors then. Just to point out, and I like this, I really like this, each of the aces have a little mouse on them. So, we have our Ace of Swords. We have our Ace of Pentacles. Then we have our Ace of Wands. The little mouse is there as a design on the sleeve. And then very obviously here with the Ace of Cups, they're wearing these little mice masks. Excuse me. Mouse, says Claire. Mouse. Okay. So, unusually for me, I think I like the swords the best in this deck. I think the images are easier to see. The pentacles are beautiful and lots of pastel colours with the pentacles. The cups and the wands I find the most confusing because you have to really look, again, you have to look at, is that a wand? You know, to work out which it is. They are just numbered, so it doesn't say Ace of Wands, it will just say 1 and then Roman numerals for 2, etc. So we have our Ace of Swords here. I love the colours in this. I love the kind of beige sky, this barren land. Here's somebody that's been obviously killed and, you know, all the only remains is a skeleton figure now, but this little mouse has crawled up to the, you know, to sit on the sword at the hilt. It's beautiful. Love the moon there in the background as well. The river. 3 of Swords, that's nice, you know. We've still got that pierced heart, but it's a carving on this beautiful tree. It's just really lovely. You've got a little foliage coming out as well for spring, for Ostara. This kind of reminds me of Watership Down. You know that scene in the film where they go swirling round and around, the rabbits? Kind of reminds me of that. Naomi loves the Ace. The Mouse That Roared. The Mouse That Roared. Was that a Tales of the Unexpected episode or Hammer House of Horror? That sounds really familiar. We have a serpent for the 5. Oh, hello, Jen. Yes, there is a bunny surrounded by swords in El Goliath. That's right. I was having childhood flashbacks. One of my favourite cards. I think this is such a beautiful image for our 6 of Swords. And again, this is when, you know, it says that it has a nod to RWS, and you can see that correlation. But just look at it. She's almost silhouetted. It's just lovely. We've got this snake swimming towards, breaking the calmness of the water. But she's heading away. Gorgeous. Got this little raccoon guy here. So I really like the swords because they're clear, they're easy to see. And the danger noodle following behind. Danger noodle. Now this is a fierce card, isn't it? It's fantastic though. Beautiful whale. Again, I know people don't like to see swords, but this symbolic, they're not real swords, look, they're almost like light. Here we have our page. Like Lawrence of Arabia. The knight, which is quite pagan. And then we have like an Eastern influence for the Queen, who is beautiful. And this Warrior King reminds me of something out of Doctor Who, but I love his horns. Is Elle trying to get the deck back? Just seeing Becca say, I'm keeping it. She's trying to get it back. Okay, Pentacles. Love the colours, and I think Becca, you'll love this suit because it's all the colours you love as well. Lots of pastels, really pretty purples. I know you've got the deck, Becca, but I'm just guessing that this would be like your favourite suit. We've got the little mouse there that's in all the aces, as I mentioned. You see, when I first saw this, I didn't instantly see the coins, because they're not called pentacles in this suit, they're called coins. I saw vases. So on first, I was thinking, oh, 2 of cups, vases, vessels, looks like they're full of water, these vases. But then, obviously, the balancing that you get with the coins and pentacles suit made sense. But I don't know, it's because I like to go instantly with things. Depending what I'm, like I said, depending what I'm using it for. If I'm sitting to do some quiet introspection and some, you know, going within, taking time, meditating with a deck, brilliant, because I can really take in the image. Love the 3. So the 5 is quite RWS. We've got that kind of stained glass window, somebody on the outside in the cold. We have a mermaid. And look at this card. How gorgeous is this 7 of Pentacles? Cuteness overload. This is a deck I just forget the traditional meanings and just run with it. Yeah, I was saying at the beginning, Becca, about how this is really does lend itself quite well to reading intuitively. Not, I mean, some of the cards are very obvious, but as I said, some aren't so obvious. That perfecting of a skill. Again, I have to really... Beautiful. But I just, at first, I just see, my mind, I just see flowers and plants and this animal. It took me a while till I spotted her draped over the sofa in the background. Ten. Then we have our page. So, I know what Kelly was saying earlier. I hope you don't mind me saying that about our conversation, Kelly. But when I first, this deck was shuffled and I was pulling it and I wasn't familiar with it, if I was coming to it for the first time, I wouldn't necessarily see that as a pentacle. I'd see that as the moon in the sky with the clouds around it. I can't see anywhere other than its kind of earthiness why that would be the Page of Pentacles. It's all this kind of wolves and yeah, these wolves all around her. But the Knight, again with the Queen, it's a beautiful card. But do we just think, oh, that wheel there is a pentacle? Beautiful, beautiful king. Just look at these antlers. They're just gorgeous with all the things hanging on them. Becca says, forget what you think it is supposed to be. Yeah, but I can't in a lot of ways, because if I'm doing a reading for myself and I pull the Queen of Pentacles, I want to know that it's the Queen of Pentacles. And again, okay, we've got the guidebook and things, haven't we? But isn't that gorgeous? I hate you all. It's just gone in my basket. So here's our Ace of Wands. Now, my least favourite suit. Sorry, but it's very busy. Not all of them, but like when we get to the 5. I can detach my brain too easily. The little frog there. You guys are going on about Siri for some reason. Again, wands. We know it's wands now, but if I was just pulling this, inside joke. I mean, you can see wands here. Right, I was just said I'm starting to see the downfalls of letting decks go. Yeah. I never kind of regretted letting go of some oracles, but I have regretted letting go of some tarot decks and I've ended up buying them again. This is like snakes and ladders. So do you see the difference? Obviously, because each suit has a different artist, but I still think they've pulled it off quite good, you know, in terms of the cohesiveness. Oh, I just noticed a little nick there. Must have done that while shuffling. See, cards like this I'm not keen on. It's very abstract-ish, and there's a couple of cards in the Japaridze as well that I find, you know, I think it's like clear images. That's why I don't like Thoth so much. Yeah. Do you get what I mean? Beautiful page. Love the fox. Really gorgeous. I haven't let go of any tarot yet, but I did just give a couple of oracle decks to my son and son-in-law to be. Knight. The Queen is quite beautiful. I do like the colours in that card. I think it's lovely. Although I don't regret giving it to the absolute queen in my life, and that's the last compliment you'll ever hear from me. And the king. And that's beautiful card. Okay, and I've been on over an hour. Why is it taking me so long tonight? Last suit then. Oh, here we go, and I've drank all my drink. Oh no, I've got a bit more left. Right, I'm going to hurry this up a bit. We'll go for our cups at a fast pace. Isn't that cute? Oh. Yeah, this one again, I was like, what am I looking at? I like the little frog there. Ebola. Oh, not Corona then. Not coming down with the coronavirus. That's what I keep getting at work. Have you got coronavirus? As I'm there, coughing and spluttering. Just trying to go a little bit faster. I like to try and keep this as close to an hour as possible. Those two cards still sticky. Love this. Look at these giant cats. Huge giant cats, and she's just kind of like cradled amongst them. Yeah, I think I'm the same, Aquarius Owl. I love some of the cards, some not so much. I think I'm in agreement. And that's what I was saying right at the beginning. How I'm kind of in two minds with this deck. Some I really love, some I don't. And I don't use it as much as I thought I would use it after waiting so long to get it. But it is beautiful. The art in it is beautiful. Yeah, such a Studio Ghibli, the giant cats, yeah. So this is one I was on about, and Kelly's right, they're not pentacles, but they form like a disc shape on the light from the candle. So there is a cup right here at the bottom, but when I flipped it over once, I thought, oh, we've got the King of Pentacles, just because I could see discs first and foremost. Amazing card though. So that's that, guys. That is the Ostara Tarot. That's throwback for this week. So next week, am I about next week? Yeah. Yes. Chrysalis gets one more chance. So the vote will be between Chrysalis Tarot and I Saw a Knife and Not a Cup. It's definitely King of Cups. That last one. I can't see a knife anywhere. There's the hands and then this cup here, look. Please don't confuse me anymore. I'm already confused. So, drum roll. What is Chrysalis going up against? What classic tarot deck is out there that we've not done a walkthrough of yet? Dum dum dum. The Hidden Realms. Tarot of the Hidden Realms will be going against the Chrysalis Tarot for next week's vote. I've got quite a lot of Oracle decks to give away as well at the Tarot meetup. So that will be up in within the hour. I promise not to forget and go and check on Sunday and not even put it up. So yes, I will put it up and votes will be open until Tuesday of next week. I'll be back on Saturday. The cuppa catch up in cards, throat and everything else permitting. I'm actually on the tail end of it. I feel a lot better than I did this time last week. So thank you for bearing with me. Sorry we had to rush a bit at the end. I didn't realise time had gone so fast. Yeah, and I hope you all have a wonderful end to your week. And I'll see you on Saturday. So until next time, guys, go in peace, namaste, and blessed be.